Today, I wanted to talk about entropy-based sampling, colloquially known as the Shrek Sampler, what it is, and why is everyone talking about it. Fun fact, it's called the Shrek Sampler because the author of the repo, the person who's posting all of this stuff behind X, his profile picture is Shrek, dressed as the main antagonist from the Western movie No Country for Old Men. Before we go further, what is a sampler? Well, the first thing you need to know is that an LLM doesn't just output the next token at each forward pass. Instead, every time you talk to an LLM like ChatGPT or Cloud, what happens is the LLM under the hood returns a list of thousands and thousands of probabilities, each probability representing the likelihood of that next token being the next token of the output. Sampling is a process by which you determine out of that list which token to use. The simplest way would be to always choose the most probable word. But what researchers have found is that when you always choose the most probable word, argmax, this will come into play later, you tend to get output that is really boring and uninteresting. Instead, what developers of these AI systems do is introduce methods like top K sampling, temperature-based sampling, to induce some element of controlled randomness where likely outcomes are more often seen, but some element of surprise can still happen. By the way, this is why when you enter the same prompt twice, you'll get different results. So what is unique about the Shrek Sampler? At the end of each forward pass, unlike the naive sampling strategies we just talked about, the Shrek Sampler takes in the list of all probabilities of all possible tokens and computes two values, entropy and var entropy. And it makes sense if you think about it. When the model returns its list of thousands and thousands of probabilities, it's not just giving you a list of words to use. It's in a way implicitly expressing how uncertain and how much it doesn't know about what to do next. And so the Shrek Sampler exploits that by taking those two values and switching its sampling strategy based on those values. So for example, if uncertainty is really low, if entropy and var entropy are both really low, it'll just take var max. It'll just take the highest probability value and output that. But if uncertainty is really high, it'll do something really interesting like insert a pause token to get the model to reconsider the path it was going down. Here's an example that the author posted where the author asks a 1 billion parameter open source model which value is greater, 9.11 or 9.9. And you can see a pause token is inserted right when the model is about to go off the rails to get it to reconsider and start a series of chain of thought reasoning steps that eventually gets it at the right answer. And I think this is partly why the community, especially the open source AI community, is super excited about the results. You essentially have like this O1 style reasoning result being replicated in an open source model, 1 billion parameters that you and I could download. And if we tried really, really hard, get it to run on a machine that we run at home. By the way, if you want to check this out for yourself, we'll link out to the repository below. You don't need to read a paper. It's just code, sampler.py. That's all you need.